Hi. So, yeah, so I've been released on bail because it makes sense that a potential murderer um, is released into bail with the only restriction being that they can't go to the place where they committed the crime because they might be tempted, might be overcome with an urge to do it again. I'll bear with you. Well, that's what it says. So so they so I was released with my trendy prison stroke hospital stroke police cell uniform. Um, no bag, no proper bags. I've got two plastic bags with stuff. So from the comments of the other people, this is a recognised thing that somebody walking around like this has been released from hospital or somewhere. Uh, I think maybe cell isn't their first thought because I was walking along and I heard these girls say, "Why has she got her bags like that?" And I heard the other one say, "Oh, she's been released from hospital." Just thought, and I thought, well, a police cell, but close. I didn't say anything, but in my mind I was thinking, police cell, but close enough. Um, so so I had this, and then I realised my purse wasn't there. And at first, I didn't realise that all the bits that weren't there were to mess with my head and to make it difficult for me, because I they said you initially they said you can't stay. When they were talking about giving me bail, they had to give me bail because after 36 hours, you need some kind of proof to keep a person. You can go to a magistrate, so we've got this proof, we need to keep the person longer, but they had no proof. And there was proof to the contrary that that I had no involvement with this murder other than to have come across a man lying there and calling the services to say, there's somebody lying here. And also, I was traumatized. I was traumatized because not for so much seeing a dead body that wasn't nice, and also that was in the corridor. That whoever has, I mean, that when I realized the person was dead, it's like, and then you realize it's kind of murder. So the trauma of that, and then the person who committed the murder just left this person lying on the on the corridor. Now that might seem odd, but the thing is that it shows that whoever did it had no regard whatsoever. Because sometimes, you know, I think sometimes in case of manslaughter and that someone does something like shit, what have I done? But the fact that this person, I don't know what their relationship was. I didn't see the woman, as I said, and I'm so glad that didn't come across her. But to be honest, I mean, had I been there, then I would have been injured or dead, or so that would have been it. So there wouldn't have been a, 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 I mean, I might be able to fight back, but there's kind of a nasty energy about this woman, and I sensed before. So who knows? Fine. That would have been the end of me. But but so this body's been left with there with no regard, and then I've been arrested after I was the one that called for services by this nasty bitch of a woman, PC Loveridge. Um, because when I meet police officers, you can get a sense pretty quickly, like you are a decent human being, or you're potentially somebody who you seem decent enough, maybe, um, even if you're not the best of person, you're definitely someone redeemable. And then you meet people like her, and you know that they're wrong, and they're just using their throwing their weight around because they can. That the police is something that attracts people who are after power for the sake of power because it's the nature of the job. Police have power. So I say to people like I think the majority of police officers are not good people. Speaking to other police officers, it is changing. So maybe the balance has tipped somewhat. I don't know. Um, but I know she's a wrong one. I feel it, and I say, when I meet people, police officers, that I think the majority of them are not good people. They're on a power trip, but there definitely are good ones. And she says, "Oh yeah, I'm one of the good ones. I joined because I wanted to." She said, "I joined because I wanted to make a difference," or something like. She said that, and I thought, "Yeah, you say what you want to, bitch. I thought this. I just didn't say anything. Didn't say anything further. She said, yeah, one of the good ones. I want to help. So I said, oh, how do you help then? And she said, by arresting people. I thought, right, okay, you think you help by arresting people. Um, it, it, um, well, she's not obviously not bothered about whether that she's arrested the right person or not, but that's not making a difference. If you're able to sort of work with people, say a criminal, to change their mind so they won't do it again, things like that, it's making a difference. Like you arrested someone, great in that instance. You may have, well, you. It's like, woohoo! I've caught somebody. I don't actually care that the person I've caught is not the person who has not committed a crime. I knew she was a wrong and and she proved it by not just. I don't just mean the fact that she arrested me when I hadn't done anything, but that she lied, actively lied, gave a different impression with what she said I said. That I didn't, she said, I came across this person, she said, I didn't do it, it wasn't me. Which is a false, it gives a false impression. Um, we had conversations and I may have used those words, even in, not all together, but I may have used the first set of words at one time and the other set at one time, and in amongst a whole lot of conversation. So she does this, but so the trauma is there that I've been arrested for that as well. But leaving aside that trauma that I've been falsely arrested, I asked when I was being held in the cell. I asked a few times. They said, "Do you want anything?" I said, "Well, maybe it'd be good to have someone to speak to, like a counsellor or something." So I said, "Oh no, you're a suspect, so you can't." Now, um, so it made me think. Actually, this should be available to everybody. Like if somebody's in a, if somebody's been held in a cell, you're saying, on one hand, what you're saying is that it doesn't matter that you may not have committed these. At the moment, you're a suspect. So the fact that you've got the trauma of seeing someone dead, I may not have come across a dead body before. As I said, I've studied medicine, I've dissected bodies. So yes, I've come across a dead body before, but I certainly have not come across somebody who's been murdered. So there is the shock there. Plus, I was upset. I wasn't traumatized from seeing a dead body, but I was upset because this man's just there. And when I realised he was dead and they said, "Oh, the ambulance came," I said, "Okay." I said, "I know this sounds odd, but I'm just going to sit with him, kind of like hold his hand because he's just there." And I didn't even sense. It's not I sense life. It was. I felt like I wasn't. I didn't know that I was doing anything. I was trying to hold his hand, but it was nothing, no energy. But I still felt that it was respectful to stay around that area. So I was upset about that, and then traumatized by the other things, and then traumatized from being arrested. And they're saying, well, we can't offer you anything because you're being held, or you're being arrested. You're a suspect. But to be honest, even were I to have been a suspect, if a person, you saying that because you want to, because a person, if the person, say the person was arrested and rightly so, they'd actually done this, so then they don't deserve any help. Like, you might as well also say, well, we're not going to feed you. Well, don't feed the person, and then say, if you decide that somebody has committed a crime, therefore they don't deserve any help. Well, then don't feed them. Just put them somewhere, deprive them of everything. But to say, okay, well, make sure you get fed. And I did make sure I get fed, and sort of have something to drink occasionally. The nice ones would check on you, bring you stuff. The nasty ones would just like one time, I rang the buzzer. They didn't answer. I banged on the door. I screamed because they don't get they know you're there. Then I slid a piece of paper under. I'd asked for paper that said, may I have something to drink? Another slice of paper, I'm thirsty. And I know the papers went through, and then I heard that somebody picked them up, and a man in a Welsh accent said, no. Well, it might not be Welsh, maybe I didn't recognise the accent, but he said, no. Like, no, you can't have something to drink because you've kind of created a fuss, therefore you're not deserving of food. So if you're going to do that, you might as well go all the way. So, don't bother with, you're not going to give them any support, like an emotional support. Don't give them any physical support. Just starve the people that you arrest and don't give them food or water because they're less than. So do you see the ridiculousness? Like if a person is deserving of humane treatment, then they also deserve the emotional treatment, irrespective of whether they did something or not. But for those of us who didn't do something, we are doubly, triply, quadruply traumatized because to ask for support and then be told no because you're a suspect, it's like you can't imagine how it can fuck with your head. Like, thankfully, because of my life experiences, I have, when I need to, I can tap into the core of me that is as solid as the strongest steel. I can reach that aspect. I can, if that's what is happening to me, that I'm being held in a room. I've got no choice. I can focus on that. I can focus on that part of me. I'm still here. Maybe there's noise outside. Maybe there's a horrible noise. It's like you're still here. You are still there. Nobody knows you're still there. It's okay. And I've got that strength, but not everybody has. And for those, to think of those people, those innocent people who are treated in this way, especially when the police know that that person's innocent and they're torturing them, maybe because the person has, like me, has said, no, I'm not happy with this, rather than just bowed it. But to take, for the sort of person who would take pleasure in this abuse, PC Loveridge and any of her ilk should not be in any position of power over the public. It is horrendous that this can't be the first time she's done this, but she should not be working as a police officer. She certainly not where she has any sort of power as well. She could maybe be allowed to press a button occasionally. If she has to have a job in the police, somewhere where she has no power because she's nasty and she's abusing this. But thankfully for me, it's true that the people in the north are kind of generally warmer than people in the south. Not that there aren't some amazing people in the south and the north. I've got some great friends, but in general, when I left the police, I was thinking, okay, where to now? It was I was supposed to be leading a workshop, a writing workshop, and then I realised that they released me in time for me to go along to this workshop. Not that I thought I was going to take part, but it's like I've got friends there, so I sort of turned up, what's going on, and my lovely friend is leading the group. Said, "Oh, we've just got to do this first." I'm like, "Okay," thinking, "What do I say?" Because initially I wasn't going to say anything to anybody and just save it to later, but way down the line, and then so he's doing the talking, and I say, when he's done that little bit, I say, I was arrested for murder and I've been in the police cell for the last 34 hours, and not one person looked at me like, could she be a murderer? Not one person thought it was anything other than, people said, are you joking? But nobody thought that this might be the case. I said, this is this case there. Not one person. And then so I'm out now on bail, but I'd bought these shoes before, and they'd sort of gone missing at that place, and thought, are they somewhere else? I looked around for them, they didn't turn up. So I got a text today saying, oh, we found your shoes. Someone confused them. They thought they were another lady's, but they're here. So I go to pick them up. And there's an envelope there, so I don't know where that's from. There's a card that I don't know where it's from. So I open this card, and I'm going to read this, because I'm not going to mention the person's name, because she might not want to be mentioned, but it's, I'll just use the initial, but if you bear with me one second. So it says to Cherry, right? It's on. So the envelope says to Cherry. It will be the other way around. So let's see. And the letter says, Cherry, to the very nice lady who came and told us what has happened to her. She is an amazing person. She is a heart of gold. Every one of us think nice things about her. She's always there for people who have problems. She's been good to me when I need to chat, and she always has a very nice smile on her face. She's brilliant. We all think a lot of her. She has not got a bad bone on her from M and the rest of the group. And, I must admit, I was sort of like crying straight away because I was so touched. And there are people who've said nice things to me in the South, but no one has ever done something like that. That I think in the South we were more like, oh, sorry to hear this, but it's just genuine, and like sort of who came in told us what has happened to us. Just like I mean, if you see this, I'll tell you anyway. Thank you so much for this. It's things like that, and the scummy police, as in the police officers that did this. I don't mean the police as a whole, but the police that did this, they would take this. If they got the chance, they would take this off me. And for example, they've taken my little bag of like joy. That's one of the things they've taken. There's nothing in there that could harm, but they've taken this. And they would take this off me as well to be vindictive. The sort of people who arrested me who did that, like the people, PC Lubbridge sort of people. But it doesn't matter because, yes, these things help, physical things help, but I've absorbed that into my fucking core so that when I need to, I will think of, well, not verbatim, but I'll think of this sweet lady who took the time to write this note to say how much, to say that I made a difference to them. And it's things like that I hold on to, that we can all hold on to when we're struggling. You hold on to that and you hold it hard. You can take away the physical paper, take everything, take my clothes. Well, you did take my clothes, but you cannot touch that. You cannot touch that because there's nothing malicious about this. There is no ego thing going on. It's not about ego. It's that this is there. That this is there. I'm not playing a game. I'm not trying to win. I'm just doing my best. I'm doing all I can. And at those times when I have no power, then I think, okay, I have no power, but I'm just going to do all I can because that is all I can do. I'm not sure this post is when it's gone exactly the direction I was going to do. I was going to talk about some things some changes that have happened in the law that severely impact this. What I only found out from being in the situation, for example, if you're in a the rule was, this has come up in countless television dramas, if you've been detained in a police cell, you have a right to make a phone call. You do not anymore have the right to make a phone call. The only thing you have is the right for a policeman to let somebody know that you're in a police cell, not even why or anything like that, and you don't get to hear them. Like it's just, I would say generally it's not worth exercising that. The only time I can imagine it's worth exercising that is someone who's a constant repeat offender. It's like the mum is like, oh, is Jack coming back for lunch today? It's like, no, Ma, we got a call to say he's in the police. All right, so we'll have to check tomorrow then. Outside of that, I cannot see any reason. Or if somebody's, even if somebody is sort of extremely worried about a person, do you think it's going to help to say, oh, they're in a police cell? Like, personally, I can't see it. And also, you used to, if you were arrested, any property you had there would be a list made, and that would be then returned to you. But looking through that, you get a copy of, you have the right to you have three rights. One is the right to legal representation. One is the right for the police to make a call to someone to say that you're being detained in a police cell in wherever police station. And the third right is the right to the book of um, sort of the code of the professional code for being held. So it's a list of the rules for detainment in the police, and I forget the word is sort of confinement or something. It starts with a C anyway. The code is C. So you have C 1.1, C 1.4, C 4 point whatever. So I was reading through this. C 1.1 is that you shouldn't be detained longer than necessary. So when the person in charge of the person who needs to make sure these rules are being adhered to said that this is me, this is what I do. So I said, oh, so do you feel that section C1.1 is being adhered to? And he said, well, I don't know exactly what C1.1 is, so like by memory. So I said, well, it's here. This is 1.1 that a person should not be held longer than necessary. And he said, something like people are doing their best. And I read the other rules, and one of them later down is that they can forget the number, that they a person they don't need to make a record of what, but they do not need to make a list of what belongs you have, and then so you don't make a list, so you don't know what was there, so something could go missing, which I can't see any justification for this. And even in the rules, it didn't explain why this should be the case. I mean, they did say why somebody may not be allowed to make a phone call because they're worried the information will be passed. Why the police cannot phone someone to say that you're being held, because that in itself could pass on information saying, right, we've got to move. Like, Cherry's locked up. Let's stop killing random old men because they might get us. Although I think that would be a good thing if people stopped killing random old men because they've got the code that I'm locked up. I'm being facetious. The point is that the fact that you're no longer allowed to make a call at all, and the fact that they don't make a list of your possessions is, I think, a big deal. When did this happen? When did the law change to that? So that was something that I wanted to talk about. But I think this video is long enough for now. So if you made it this far, well done. And I'm going to end it here. Thank you.